Have you ever wondered how electronics are repaired? Well, I'm about to tell you. It's called soldering. So, what is soldering? Soldering is connecting parts with molten metal and allowing them to cool. According to sparkfun.com on February 9th, solder, the verb, means to join together two pieces of metal in what is called a solder joint. So what is soldering used for? It's used to provide an electrical connection between components and to attach parts to an electrical board. So there's 3 steps you need to do to solder. First, you need to get all the materials you need. Second, you need to follow safety guidelines. And third, you need to actually solder the parts. So first, we need to get our tools. So some of the things you'll need is you'll need a soldering iron, you'll need the soldering iron stand, you'll need some solder, you'll need a sponge, and you'll need a newspaper to put it all on. Some things that you don't need but are nice to have is a desoldering pump as well as a multimeter. So now that we have all the materials we need to use them safely. So some things before you start soldering is make sure you're wearing safety glasses, lay down newspaper and put everything on it, place the soldering iron stand on the newspaper, and then plug in and turn on the soldering iron, which I've already done. So one thing to watch out for is during soldering the tip will get very hot, so try not to touch it, or definitely don't touch it. But watch for any solder that drips off, as it will also be hot. And then whenever you're done using it, put it back in the soldering iron stand. So after you're done soldering, let all the parts you soldered cool before you touch or you start moving them. Turn off and unplug the soldering iron and allow it to cool before you put it away. And watch out for sharp pieces of metal on the part you just soldered. So now that you know soldering safety, we need to learn how to solder. So the first thing you need to do is you need to determine what points you need to solder. And in order to solder it, the first thing you do is you touch the soldering iron to the part, and then you touch the solder to the part and not the soldering iron, and melt on a little blob of solder. And then when you have enough, you remove the solder and you remove the soldering iron and you put it back in the stand, and then you let it cool for a few seconds. And after you let it cool, you make sure it's on and is attached well, and you make sure you have a good connection. According to electronicsclub.info on February 9th, the solder joint should look shiny and have a volcano shape, which it does here. And you want to make sure the solder didn't spread to any other connections, which it didn't. So when you're done, you need to put away your tools. When you put away the soldering iron, you need to turn it off, unplug it, and let it cool before you put it away. So this is the part we made. We just soldered on a capacitor here, and the part should now work. So in summary, the 3 steps to solder a part are getting the necessary materials, doing it safely, and soldering the part. So now you can solder without burning your house down.